So if you're anything like me, having our data in rows and columns nicely organized is terrific. However, sometimes you might want to look at things in a different format. So let's just see what it looks like month compared to month. Let's go ahead and remove the academic years from this. We're just going to look at how January over time compares to February, March, April, May, etc. So I'm going to remove academic year in the lower right corner. Now we just have our 12 months. I'm going to highlight everything up. I'm going to highlight the 12 months. And then I'm going to go to Insert in the top navigation ribbon, Recommended Charts, and a basic bar chart's fine. Down here, anytime when you're in the pivot table mode and you see an option like this one has month and a drop down arrow, that is a filtering option. So maybe you only want to look at January, February, March, April, and May. You can click that, and now you've filtered it, so you're just looking at the months that comprise the spring term. Let's go ahead and select all to have all 12 months. So that's pretty good. We've got some formatting work to do, but to me that's the fun part. So the first thing I see is I would like the numbers to have 1,000, like after 1,000, a comma separator. So we're going to change our number format. So I'm highlighting column B, and I right click, I select Format Cells, Number. Now we don't want decimals, but we do want a comma separator. So that's better. I'm also a fan of data labels. So let's add in some data labels. So I just clicked here in the basic chart area, which popped up this little plus sign for chart elements. So I click on that and I select data labels. And don't worry that everything's kind of crowded and looks ugly right now. We're going to fix that up. You can say OK. We don't really need this chart legend, so I just clicked on that and then I deleted it. And now that we have our data labels, we don't need this y-axis either. So I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to stretch our column out using a corner. Well, we're getting there. It's still a little bit ugly. With data labels, when you have the data labels, you really don't need these grid lines either. I mean, some people like them, some don't care for them. I'm going to get rid of them. I like the cleanest format I can get. So I just highlighted, I just clicked on one grid line. So you can see each of them are now highlighted, and press delete. It's getting a little easier to look at. I actually would like my bars to be a little wider and closer together. So I am going to just click on a single bar, which actually highlighted all the bars. That's okay. And right click. And I'm going to scroll down to Format Data Series. Now let's look over here to the right. What I'm going to adjust is the gap width. That means how much space is in between each item. Here's a gap width of 0, so they're all touching each other in our chart. That is a little bit too much for my eyes. I'm going to change it to 50. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and close that little box right now. And I'm going to close the pivot chart fields as well. So we're getting there. The font on these data labels is maybe a little small. Let's see if we can increase it and what that does for our work. So I just highlighted on one of the data labels, which actually highlighted them all. And up in the top left corner, I'm going to Home. And I'm going to try increasing the font size to 12. that's maybe a little too big because these two numbers are touching each other. So let's go ahead and maybe reduce that down to, let's see what 10.5 looks like. That's not bad. You can also do that with these, the horizontal axis. You can change those to be a little bigger as well. They look pretty good at 12. And then this, where it says total, we need to put in something more meaningful for a chart title. So we can just say, you could do foot traffic by month. And you could make that bigger, just highlighting it. We can give it a font size of 16 and make it bold. You could also do this as more of a headline option. You could maybe say September and October are busiest at Atkins Library. That would be more of the headline format. There are a lot of different ways you can go about things. And then maybe you only want to look at particular months again with that filtering. Maybe we want to look at the fall term this time. So we can go to December, November, October, September. Let's stick August in there too. And so our formatting style stays the same. We're just looking at a different, fewer months. So that can be kind of fun to look at things that way. Let's play around with some different options. So I actually like how this looks, so I am going to save it, or I'm going to keep it for later rather. And so there's a couple things you can do. You can put it in a PowerPoint or Microsoft Word file or Google Drive, anything like that, just simply by clicking with your left mouse key, right clicking, copy. Let's go ahead and put it in a PowerPoint. I already had one I was working on earlier that's open. So now we're in PowerPoint on a slide, and I'm just going to right click. If you select this first option for paste, it will actually keep the data associated with the presentation, and you can actually make adjustments to your data set by just double clicking. You can edit data, select data, etc. You can change how your chart looks with these Format Data Series options. You can make it bigger. You can make it smaller. So this works pretty well. So if I was actually creating a presentation I would share with some stakeholders, I would format these to make some of the labels bigger. So I would go to Home. Remember, we're in PowerPoint, so everything needs to be bigger. So let's try 18-point font size. So now we could use this as a graphic in a PowerPoint slide to share with our boss or in a presentation or something like that.